Do you really know the people around you? You might believe you can spot toxic behavior, recognize heavy or unsettling energy, or draw the line when someone's conduct becomes unacceptable. But what if I told you that the true dangers aren't the obvious ones? That the most harmful individuals are often the ones who appear kind, charming, even close. Sometimes they're family. And while you're busy guarding yourself against the clear villains, you're unknowingly leaving your mind open to something far more insidious. The unconscious minds of others merging with your own. Carl Gustav Jung spent his life uncovering these hidden forces. In his writings, such as The Ego and the Unconscious, he explains that much of what truly drives us lies beyond our conscious awareness. And this doesn't just apply to you, it applies to everyone. That's precisely where the danger resides. Because when someone is blind to their own darkness, their shadow searches for a host, and very often that host becomes you. Perhaps you've never considered this, but think for a moment. How many times have you felt emotionally drained after interacting with someone? How many times have you been unfairly blamed or treated as the savior in a drama that wasn't even yours? Jung called this projection, a psychological mechanism through which people unconsciously project onto others the very things they refuse to face within themselves. From that point on, you're no longer seen as a person. You become a symbol, a mirror, a fictional enemy, an idealized hero. But none of these images are truly you. What's more alarming is that you often don't even realize you're caught in this dynamic. You believe you're being helpful, understanding, even mature. Yet in reality, you're being pulled into psychological battles that don't belong to you, driven by forces you didn't create, but that now entangle you. And it's not always about ill-intentioned people. Jung made it clear. The greatest threats don't come from knowingly malicious individuals, but from those who are deeply unconscious of themselves. These are people disconnected from their inner world, ruled by masks, traumas, unresolved conflicts, and hidden desires. They're not necessarily evil, but they are dangerous, because their danger is subtle and slow. It creeps in through daily conversations, loaded silences, passive-aggressive remarks, until you start questioning your own reality. And once you disconnect from your own inner truth, you become a fragment of someone else's shadow. You might be experiencing this right now, in a relationship, a friendship, a workplace, maybe even in your family. And maybe you're blaming yourself, wondering what's wrong with you. The truth? Nothing. But something is wrong with how you're being used as a vessel for another person's unconscious content. In this video, we'll explore 6 types of emotionally dangerous individuals Jung identified. People who aren't driven by conscious malice, but by unconscious forces they themselves don't understand. And that's exactly what makes them so destructive. Using Jung's own words, concepts, and warnings from books like Ion, The Ego and the Unconscious, and Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, we'll learn how to identify these patterns. More importantly, we'll open the door to a deeper realization that one or more of these patterns may exist within you too. Ready? Take a deep breath and keep going. But be warned, once you see these patterns, you'll never look at others or yourself the same way again. Imagine living with someone who blames you for all their emotional states. Your presence becomes a trigger. You're held responsible for feelings you never caused. At first, they seem vulnerable, deep, and sensitive. But with time, you realize you're caught in a war that isn't yours, and you're already losing. This is the unconscious manipulator, a person unaware of their inner wounds who projects them outward as a way to survive psychologically. Jung once said, "What we do not confront in ourselves, we will meet as fate." And often, that fate has a face, a name, and a seat at your dinner table. The unconscious manipulator is overwhelmed by unresolved trauma, repressed emotions, and psychological fragmentation. Rather than turn inward, they externalize their chaos, casting others as characters in their inner drama. Jung called this chronic projection. While projection is a natural part of the psyche, when it's unrecognized, it becomes dangerously distorting. In The Ego and the Unconscious, Jung explains that projection leads to psychic blindness, a mental prison where the other person stops being seen for who they truly are and becomes a screen for what's hidden inside us. This is the trap the unconscious manipulator sets. They don't see you. They see a disowned part of themselves. These individuals often play the role of the victim. Every negative emotion is someone else's fault. If they feel angry, you provoked them. If they're sad, you let them down. If they feel inadequate, it's because you're too confident. This distortion is so subtle that it makes you question your reality. Was I being insensitive? Did I say something wrong? Am I the problem? And that's how manipulation takes root, not through shouting or demands, but through silent emotional influence. It's unconscious and highly effective. Worse still, these manipulators are often charismatic. They have charm, depth, and emotional magnetism. This creates a trap because you believe you're the one person who can help, heal, or understand them. But what you're really doing is sacrificing your psychological well-being for someone unwilling to face their own reflection. The more you try to save them, the more you drown. Jung warns that when we're drawn into someone else's projection, we're no longer seen as individuals. We're turned into symbolic roles: savior, enemy, betrayer, mother, father, anything but ourselves. Living within this symbolic framework is like living inside an illusion. The only way to escape the unconscious manipulator is through awareness. Recognize the patterns. Sever the invisible emotional threads tying you to their narrative. And ask yourself, is this feeling really mine? Or was it implanted? Because unconscious manipulators don't force their way in. They slip through the open door of your empathy. And once you see this clearly, the next danger becomes even subtler. The persona bearer, the one who not only projects, but performs. They live their lives through a mask until you forget who you truly are. In the next section, we'll explore the persona, one of Jung's most powerful concepts, and how it represents a hidden psychological risk. Because while the unconscious manipulator throws their darkness onto you, the bearer of the persona invites you into a false reality, where even you begin to forget your truth.